Good morning, everybody. Namaste. So this is going to be a part two to our meditation introduction. Last week we had a little bit of a brief intro about Kundalini chakras. Basically, we did some super basic affirmations, and we talked about the energy protection and the aura that you can do at the beginning of meditation and at the end of meditation. Today, I'm going to teach you how to raise your own Kundalini energy and start practicing doing that at home. I think it's probably important to tell you a little bit about what Kundalini is. It's a pretty deep topic. It's not going to be super easy to fit it all in what it is, but I think the best way to describe it is we have three main energy channels in our body. And if you look at any chakra charts or any symbolism of the nadis, the main energy channels in the body, you're going to see these three main nadis. And you've probably heard of the sun channel and the moon channel. And those are the primary nadis that we're using. Those are the primary energy systems in our body that we use to go about our daily lives and take care of business, if you will. But those primary energies on the sun and moon channel are often reactionary. So on the sun channel, reactionary in terms of you physically are doing things when you see things in the environment. So physical or mental action, and then or reaction, if you will, to the environment. And then on the left side, the moon channel, you'll get emotional reactions. So it's those two channels, the sun and moon, are designed for self-preservation. They're designed to help us integrate, bounce around in this life without, I guess, for lack of a better description, they help us sense things. Our five senses, they help us think, they help us feel emotions, they help us remember. But they also, when it comes to the energy in our mind, they often torture us as well. We don't always need to be in self-preservation mode, yet without meditation, we're almost always continuously in self-preservation mode, which is out of balance, to say the least. It's a very out of balance way to be. So the Kundalini rises up the central channel, and that's the central channel that they often talk about. It's dormant, and the Kundalini energy is dormant. Well, that's a way to describe it. Maybe not actually completely dormant. Might be an over exaggeration. The Kundalini energy, though, when it is awakened to the point where you can feel it, that actually changes your consciousness. So imagine if you've been seeing in black and white your whole life, and then you took a class to learn how to see better. And somehow that instructor had some energy and was able to, you were able to vibe with that instructor. And all of a sudden you started being able to see colors. You looked at a gray wall and you realize, oh, that's a red wall, like the wall behind me. But at that point, you don't know that that's red. So the instructor has to kind of walk you through that. That's red, that's orange, that's purple, that's green. And you start seeing more color and you're learning that, but you're learning it late in life, right? So that's kind of the role of the instructor or the coach. And Kundalini is almost exactly like that. It's something that it's there in the background, but if you really don't know what it is, if you don't have somebody show you about it and point the way, you don't really know what you're missing, because you could probably get around in a black and white world, to be quite honest. You'd probably be perfectly fine. You'd be able to find things. You wouldn't run into things. You'd be probably doing pretty good. And that's the way it is without the Kundalini. So with the Kundalini awareness, one of the things that it does is it starts awakening these sensations of energy on your chakras that you didn't feel before. So that's one of the things that happens. It's an extra sense beyond your five senses. And everybody has it, and it's built into everybody, and it's everybody's birthright. I never charge money for Kundalini awakening because it's everybody's birthright. And that's what my teacher taught me. So after you start awakening the Kundalini and practicing it, there's another really important thing that starts happening as your mind starts to go silent. And that's part of the meditation that we did last week. We started talking about silencing the mind, going into that silence and holding on to that silence. That will start happening on a natural, regular basis. And it's important to know what to do when you get there. So if that starts happening to you, but you don't have any coaching, you don't have anybody telling you what that means or how to take advantage of that, it's kind of a lost opportunity. So I want to make sure that if you guys, ladies, ever have any questions about meditation or these episodes of where your mind starts to go quiet, what to do without, how to leverage it, stuff like that, just feel free to reach out. I'll give you a couple of tips real quick right now. So if your mind starts to go silent and quiet, the beauty of that is that mental chatter that you've had in your brain since you learned whatever language you learned when you were a baby, and whatever language that mental chatter is inside your mind, what is that voice inside your head? Who is it talking to? That's the important area of inquiry. Who is it talking to, and who is listening? So I like to call that the self with a capital S. So that's your true self. Most of us aren't aware that our mind is not our true self. Our mind is just a self-preservation mechanism that's up in here, and it's kept all of us alive. It's kept us doing what we're doing, but it's not necessary to be switched on, and it's not really even meant to be switched on all the time. But yet for most of us, it's that the mind's always racing. It's always switched on. And unfortunately, it's linked into that sun and moon channel, which, like I said, those channels are exclusively self-preservation. That's what those channels do. And those channels are, as that sensitivity starts awakening because of the Kundalini awareness, you start feeling warm and cool vibrations. The sun and moon channel have warm sensations that you'll feel on your hands and in your body. And that's how you'll know that it's the sun or moon channel energy. That's the self-preservation energy. The Kundalini that goes up the central channel is experienced as a cool energy. And that's the energy of the present. That's the energy of the self. That's the energy of the self that can also be connected with the all-pervading self. And I could give you a bunch of other words for all-pervading self, but we'll just leave it at that for now. So what I want you to do is start thinking about this self that your mind's always talking to, because when you start connecting with that self with a capital S, your real self, your energetic self, you can also just tell your mind to be quiet. And in theory, that self is in charge, and the mind should listen. So a lot of us are so enamored by our own thoughts that we don't want to turn them off. A lot of people really enjoy their thoughts. They can't believe their thoughts. Their thoughts are so magical that they really don't want to turn them off. So that's a choice. But on the other hand, a lot of people have a lot of terrible thoughts and thoughts that are a waste of time, and they wish they could turn them off. So it depends on what state you're in. Sometimes when you're really wrapped up in your thoughts, you're so wrapped up that you can't stand back from them enough to just detach and say, hey, this needs to stop. This is not doing me any good. So these are things I want you to think about in terms of what the self is, what Kundalini is, what the sun and moon channels are. I call the central channel the heaven channel. So you have the sun, the moon, and then heaven. And the sun and moon channel are the lower 6 chakras, and then there's that 7th chakra that's above the head. And you'll see that in all kinds of art and iconography. In Western art, you'll see the Sahasrara, that 7th chakra, as a halo, represented as a halo. That represents enlightenment. The energy of the heaven channel has been awakened, and the person has gone beyond the plane of self-preservation, and they're into self-realization. They've understood their energetic self and had an awakening in that way. And then you also see it in all the Eastern art with the little big kind of domes and onion-shaped things on top of the Buddha's head and stuff like that. And you'll see all kinds of different things up in that area of that 7th chakra in those paintings. And that's representing the awakened Kundalini, and the person has that heaven channel is awakened, and then that's the one that they're spending their time on. So what I want to do is I want to start out with the first thing in the meditation. We're going to review the bandhan. Now, bandhan's a Sanskrit term, and it means to tie. If you look at the exact meaning of the term, but we use it as a kind of a protection or energy movement kind of a thing. So let's go ahead and sit comfortably. Have our imagine that thread coming out the top of your head so that you can get your spine aligned and you're sitting up nice and straight. Have the palms relaxed and up, facing up on on your lap. No mudras or anything like that. This is actually a mudra when you have your hands open. I think I mentioned that last time. So keep your hands open. There's a famous statue of the great yogi Patanjali, and this is the mudra that he has. He has his both of his hands open on his lap. And just close your eyes and bring your attention to the top of your head. So in Kundalini meditation, ideally you bring your attention away from this 6th chakra and move it up to the 7th chakra, because that's the goal of the Kundalini in the first place, is to be on the heaven channel, and the heaven channel extends up above the top of the head. So we want to move our attention up above the top of our head. And now we're going to do that bandhan 7 times. So we take our right hand and put it toward the left hip, and we describe an arc over the top of our head. and we go over and then back to the left hip, and that's 1, and we're going to do that 7 times. So that's 2, 3, and be aware of the energy between your hand and your body, especially when it passes over the top of your head, the 7th chakra. Okay. And now we're going to raise Kundalini. So you're going to take your left hand and just cup your left hand like this, so that the palm is facing, and the palm's going to be aimed at the heaven channel going all the way up. So that it's going to start down in front of your sacrum bone, which is where the Kundalini resides. And so this is the left hand that's cupped, and then the other hand is going to move down on the outside and then scoop up on the inside. So it's going to move down on the outside and scoop up on the inside, and it's going to do that around the left hand. Okay, it's going to do that around the left hand like that. So starting at the bottom, and you can actually look at the left hand and watch it. Watch the palm of your hand, and just follow it as it comes up. So start that scooping up, and you're going to do that. And when you get up to your head level, tip your chin up and look straight up, and then tie a knot in the air above your head. Okay, and that's 1. We're going to do that 3 times. So the next time, so the left hand moves up. It doesn't spin around. It just goes straight up above the top of your head like that. And the other hand's doing all the work. The right hand's doing all the action. Okay, scoop up on the inside with the right hand. Okay, and the third time we're going to tie 3 knots when we get to the top. So this is the 3rd time. 1 knot, 2 knots, 3 knots. Great. Okay. Now I'd like you to just close your eyes and take your right hand and place the palm on the top of your head. Move the scalp around clockwise. Just get that, see if you can get the scalp moving a little bit. And then just move your hand up a little bit, and you can kind of bounce it up and down a little bit, and see if you feel any sensation on the top of your head or in the palm of your hand, either one. And moving it up and down, you can, you should be able to feel some slight sensation. It's like a breeze often, is usually that's a pretty common description of breeze. Sometimes it's a warm breeze, and sometimes it'll be a cool breeze. And it sometimes changes from hand to hand. So and that tells you something as well. So let's try the left hand. Move the scalp around clockwise. And just try. And if you feel anything, go up and see how far up you can feel it. You may only feel it up about an inch above your head, or you may feel it more, several inches above the top of your head. And check to see if it's cool or warm, because that will inform down the road. You may feel cool with one hand and warm with the other hand. Now let's go back and try the right hand. Sometimes you'll just get just a wonderfully blissful feeling. You'll feel like there's some cool strands of energy coming out of the top of your head, and it'll just feel fantastic. And your mind will just start relaxing. It's a often has wonderful, wonderful effects. The importance of awakening Kundalini is to do it like this in a very gentle manner with somebody that knows what they're doing, and to vibe on that energy. You know, I hear a lot of people talking about, you know, weird Kundalini awakenings that, you know, cause them stress, and it should never cause stress. Those are people that are trying to awaken the Kundalini through the sun and moon channel, because those are the only channels that they have active. But somebody that has the heaven channel active and is showing you how to open up the heaven channel and activate the Kundalini through the proper route, it's usually very, very pleasant and enlightening. Okay, so we're about 30 minutes into our session, so I want to do just a quick meditation for about maybe 10 minutes or so. We'll do a quick silent meditation, and then I can stop the recording and we can do some comments or Q&A for a minute or two afterwards. Okay, so let's go ahead and close our eyes. Go ahead and touch the top of your head. So this is just a way to bring your attention up here. Eventually you'll get to where you can just put your attention up there without using your hands. You'll just automatically, boom, you'll be able to lock your attention up there into that chakra. Your mind will go quiet. At the beginning, I'm going to give you just some tools. So just the touching the top of your head is a fantastic, super simple tool. You can do that pretty much any time, any place. And then relax your hands back down on your lap. And I want you to get a read for the energy that you feel on your palms and fingertips. So just close your eyes. Let your thoughts kind of just drift away. Don't even think about anything. If you're seeing any colors or seeing anything with your eyes closed, kind of almost ignore that or look away. And ideally, you don't want that. That means that there's activity in the sixth chakra, and you don't want that. You just want to basically have a screen of nothingness when you close your eyes. So you're not really seeing anything. It's just, you know, black or nothingness. So you don't want to focus on any activity when you have your eyes closed when you're meditating. Now put your attention on your hands and see what you feel on the palms of your hands. You can reach across and touch each palm. Again, that's just a tool to bring your attention there. Eventually you won't need to use that. But at the beginning, just that touch makes it so simple for you to put your attention in a certain area. And just see what you feel. Do you feel a warmth? Do you feel a coolness? Do you feel a breeze on the palm of your hands? I want you to get comfortable with silence. It's really important to be comfortable and be able to just control your body, sit down and meditate, and then control your mind and turn your mind off the same way you turn your body off. And just be comfortable with the silence. So let's do that same thing that we did last week. Just look for that space between the thoughts. Do some nice, deep, relaxed breathing. Nothing special, just normal, deep, relaxed breathing. And as you exhale, grab that silence and hold on to it. And then continue your breathing and try to keep the silence and hold on to it. Sometimes it's nice to just write something down on a piece of paper right before you sit down to meditate. And you can write anything that comes to your mind that's creative, but it should be something to the effect of, now is my time for silence. All thoughts can be paused, or I give myself permission to pause my thoughts until I'm done meditating. Because you're only meditating for maybe 20 minutes or something like that. So it's anything that pops into your mind. You could also just take a note and then put it out of your mind so you remember it. And you can use any creative way that comes to mind to go into the no mind state, or to allow you that space for silence. You have to give yourself permission for silence, and you have to tell your mind, this is my time to be silent. Okay. So let's take our right hand and put it up across the third eye chakra. In Sanskrit, this is called the Agya chakra. And let's just say the affirmation, I forgive everything. I forgive everything. All you have to do is just say it with conviction one time, and that's enough to allow the heaven channel to open up and pass through this chakra. And then the next affirmation that we can say for this chakra is, not this thought. Not this thought. And then let's take our hand and place it up on top of the head on the Sahasrara chakra. And then just move the hand up. And then what I want you to do is just pinch your fingers toward the top of your head, and then pinch and pull up some of that Kundalini energy, a few strands of it. Extend that heaven channel up above the top of your head. See how that feels. Just sit back and relax and take a few nice deep breaths. See if you feel any energy flowing out of the top of your head, even with your hands on your lap. Check the energy on your palms. And this is a great practice, beginner practice for doing Kundalini meditation in the mornings and right before you go to bed. So let's end by raising our Kundalini one more time, and then we'll put on a bandhan to finish. So the left hand goes straight up and down, and the right hand scoops up on the inside. We'll tie once. We'll do it a second time. This time we also do one knot. And then we're going to do it a third time. And tip your chin all the way up, look up, and tie 3 knots. Go ahead and do that checking with both hands after you raise Kundalini. Just try to see what sensations you feel. We're just really kind of tuning in, if you will. There's no right or wrong. It's always interesting. Sometimes I feel it higher with one hand and than the other hand, and sometimes they're both about the same. Sometimes it's warmer or cooler with one hand or the other. Okay. Now let's go ahead and finish with the bandhan. So we start on the left hip, over and back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Great. All right.